Have you ever wondered why some people stay active all day while others feel exhausted the moment they wake up? Where does the difference come from? Is it simply a matter of age? Is it only about sleep? Or is there a system inside our body that we rarely pay attention to? Take a look around you. You have probably seen people who remain busy throughout the day. They work, move around, stay productive, and still have energy left by the evening. On the other hand, there are people who sleep for 8 hours and yet never feel refreshed. They drink their morning tea or coffee, but their body still feels heavy. By afternoon, the fatigue returns, and by evening it feels as if their body's battery has completely run out. Most people blame this on a busy lifestyle, increasing age, or mental stress. But sometimes the problem is not that simple. The body does not get energy merely from food, it gets energy from the systems that convert food into usable fuel. When these systems begin to slow down, the effects are not limited to energy levels alone. Gradually, concentration starts to suffer. Everyday tasks begin to feel more difficult. The body tires more quickly, and activities that once seemed effortless may start to feel burdensome. This does not happen overnight. The body does not suddenly give up. Instead, it sends small signals first: persistent fatigue, weakness, hair loss, or other subtle signs that are often dismissed as normal. The question is your body trying to send you these signals too? Because the body rarely creates problems without warning. It usually alerts us first. The real question is whether we are paying attention. Let me ask you something. Have you ever slept through the entire night and still woken up feeling exhausted? As if your sleep was never truly restorative? Your eyes may open, but your body feels unprepared to start the day. Some people immediately reach for tea or coffee. Others assume they simply did not sleep well. Some even consider it a normal part of getting older. But here is an important point: sleeping and feeling genuinely refreshed are not always the same thing. During sleep, the body repairs itself and prepares for the next day. However, if the body is not getting what it needs, even long hours of sleep may fail to provide a feeling of freshness. As a result, some people start their day already carrying the burden of fatigue. What makes this especially interesting is how gradually it develops. At first, the tiredness is only noticeable in the morning. Then energy begins to fade by midday. Eventually, a person may feel exhausted before the day has even truly begun. The problem is that this symptom is so common that many people never see it as a warning sign. They spend years believing that work is simply demanding, that age is catching up with them, or that feeling tired is completely normal. But the body often whispers before it shouts. And the next signal may affect not just your body, but your mind as well. Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you went there? Have you ever been talking to someone and suddenly lost your train of thought? Or found yourself taking longer than usual to remember something simple? If it happens occasionally, there is usually no cause for concern. But if it happens repeatedly, your body may be trying to tell you something. Most people think fatigue only affects physical strength. Yet sometimes it can also influence concentration and memory. This is why some individuals feel mentally scattered throughout the day, even after a full night's sleep. They continue doing their daily tasks, but their focus is not what it used to be. While reading, their mind wanders repeatedly. During conversations, their thoughts drift away. Sometimes it may even feel as though their brain is working through a fog. Many people blame this entirely on a busy life, stress, or aging. And sometimes those are indeed the reasons. But in certain situations, a slowdown in the body's energy-producing systems may also play a role. The brain is one of the body's most energy-demanding organs. When the body is not functioning efficiently, the effects may be felt not only in physical strength but also in mental sharpness. And often, the most frustrating part is not forgetting things, it is feeling that you are no longer the person you once were. The challenge is that these changes rarely happen suddenly. They occur so gradually that people often adapt without realizing it. But the body does not stay silent. It sends another signal, one that may become visible in the mirror. The fourth sign is that the work remains the same, but your body no longer supports you the way it once did. Think back a few years. Can you still perform everyday tasks as easily as before? Perhaps you can still do everything: go shopping, handle household responsibilities, manage work, but have you noticed that these activities now leave you feeling more tired? Tasks that once felt effortless now require more effort. Climbing stairs used to be routine. Now you may feel the urge to pause at the top. Carrying shopping bags was once easy, but now your arms seem to tire more quickly. The interesting thing is that these changes are often so gradual that people hardly notice them. They simply adjust their pace. They walk a little less, lift a little less, rest a little more, and eventually adapt to their new normal. Sometimes this is simply part of life or aging. But not always. The body's energy, muscle performance, and endurance are closely connected. When the body is not receiving everything it needs, strength and stamina can begin to decline. The issue is not that a person suddenly becomes weak. The issue is that the body's changes often happen quietly, so quietly that we only recognize them when we compare ourselves not with others, but with our former selves. And perhaps that is the most important question. Do you feel as energetic today as you did a few years ago? Because the next signal is not only about fatigue or strength. It may also affect your mood and emotions. Let me ask you another question. Have you noticed that walking the same distance no longer feels as easy as it once did? You may still complete all your daily tasks, but somewhere deep down, you sense a difference. Climbing stairs now requires more effort. A trip to the market feels more tiring. Activities that once seemed routine now demand more energy. Many people assume this is simply aging, and sometimes that is true. But endurance is not built on determination alone. It depends on the coordinated function of muscles, the heart, the lungs, and the body's energy-producing processes. When any of these systems become less efficient, reduced endurance is often one of the first things people notice. They can still complete the task, but it costs them more energy than before. That is why some people reach the end of the day feeling unusually exhausted despite doing nothing extraordinary. The most fascinating part is that this change usually develops over months, not days. It happens so slowly that people keep adjusting until they eventually realize that distances that once seemed short now feel surprisingly long. And that is the challenge with the body's silent changes: they do not arrive with noise. They quietly become part of everyday life. Yet the signals do not stop there. Sometimes the next sign is not found in a blood test but in the reflection staring back at you in the mirror. Has anyone ever said to you, "You look tired," or "Are you feeling okay?" And perhaps you replied, "I'm fine." Yet deep down, you also felt that something was different. The interesting thing is that we often fail to notice gradual changes in ourselves because we see our own reflection every day. Others, however, may notice these changes much sooner. Perhaps one day you look at an old photograph and realize your face no longer appears as fresh as it once did. Or maybe a comment from someone else makes you stop and think. Of course, there can be many reasons for this: sleep, stress, age, and lifestyle habits. But sometimes the quiet changes taking place inside the body can also affect how we appear on the outside. The body performs countless responsibilities every moment of every day. When its balance begins to shift, the effects can occasionally become visible in our appearance as well. And that is why the issue is not always the change you see in the mirror. Sometimes it is simply one chapter in a larger story that your body has been trying to tell you for a long time. If you think about it, all the signs we discussed today may seem unrelated: morning fatigue, reduced concentration, changes in hair, declining strength, mood changes, lower endurance, and a loss of vitality. Most people treat these as separate problems. But sometimes they are simply different pieces of the same picture. The body rarely changes suddenly. First it whispers. Then it sends signals. And only later does the problem become obvious. The question is, are you listening to those early signals? If there was even one sign in today's video that made you think about yourself, write "I'm listening" in the comments. Because the body rarely creates a problem without warning. It gives signs first: quiet signs, everyday signs, the kind that are easy to ignore in a busy life. And the first step toward better health is not always treatment. Sometimes the first step is simply learning to listen. And if you would like us to continue exploring the body's silent messages in a simple and easy to understand way, stay connected with us. Because sometimes a small symptom can be the beginning of a big change.